joking about how things can be true, and this is very much specifically in regards to practitioners of the internal arts, meditation, yoga, awareness. I should say awareness, being aware of things. So I guess there's knowing and being aware, and there's kind of two slightly different things. Like, of course, I know that there is a secret space program. I know that, a certain amount of kilometers that way up in the air, there is, beyond the atmosphere of this planet, there is a lot going on out there with technology that far surpasses, internal combustion engines. And the way we generally think of energy. There are means of propulsion and transport. There are means of getting from A to B, that we would associate with sci-fi. So us down here, like me walking on this street here, and like that guy driving the car, and like that person walking on their way to pack and save over there. So all of these people here, we would regard these things as sci-fi, as science fiction. If we were to see what is going on outside of the atmosphere, so about 400 kilometers straight up outside of the atmosphere, it's not just international, old rusty international space station orbiting around the Earth that you need some chemical rockets to get to, and you need to burn like $1 million worth of jet fuel just to get from here to out there. No, there's other stuff that's going on, and of course a lot of people are aware of this kind of in the back of their head, and so I know about that, but I can't say that I have a direct awareness of that. I've been to events a couple of times here in New Zealand where we did some, we did some protocols to let someone else out there know our location on the Earth, and we had some flybys, and we had some things happen up there that we could see that was happening probably within the atmosphere, or probably just outside of the Earth's atmosphere. There was some spaceships there that were flying very fast, and we could see that wasn't a plane, wasn't a bird, it wasn't a shooting star, it wasn't a planet, it wasn't a firework, it wasn't a drone. By the way that it moved, by the speed that it moved, by the way that it changed direction, by getting from one horizon to the other in a very short amount of time. There's no shooting star, no drone, no aeroplane, no conventional aircraft that can do that. Only some kind of exotic technology, and exotic technology in the possession of, the paramilitary, or some aerospace manufacturers, or potentially some extraterrestrials that came to visit. It could have been them, but we don't know until they land like right there, and come out and shake hands with me. Then I have no idea what's going on. So, but I can say that I know these things, and I have some awareness because of the awareness is associated with the direct experience, and knowing is just like piecing the pieces together in your mind, and then indirectly kind of knowing that. So how do you become aware of, how do you deal with awareness, right? Like there's going to cross the road. Yeah, so how do you deal with being aware of things? And I specifically, I'm kind of talking about two things here. First is this kind of technological aspect, and then the second is this, which is what I just went into, and then the second is, I guess you could say spiritual, but that's kind of it gets misused as it gets associated with more kind of woo-woo sort of new agey stuff. But you could say spiritual, but it's better to more go into it and actually talk about the technology of our own being. you could say the technology of our own consciousness, but again, that kind of goes into a woo-woo, new agey sort of area, but it basically is. It's our own consciousness, but how is our own consciousness being manifest? It's being manifest through the technology of all of the systems of our body, our cardiovascular system, circulatory system, nervous system, muscular system. Everything is being held up by our skeletal system. So we need all of these systems for our consciousness to be able to come into, our body. So if you're not going to be able to understand the technology of the whole body and how that brings about this woo-woo fucking consciousness thing, then I think, don't even bother using the word consciousness. So, once we become aware of this whole technology of our body and we learn to regulate our circulatory system, our endocrine system, our cardiovascular system, our digestive system, and all of the systems of our body, once we learn how to bring it into balance and we learn how to bring our lifestyle into balance and we can regulate our lifestyle, and basically then we can become very, very grounded, just like this tree. You see, the tree is very grounded. So we can become very grounded in a regulated lifestyle, and then you're not so stressed out. You're not so stressed out. You're not like also always worried about when to pay the next bill and when to get up and go to work and not being late for work and how to find a girlfriend and when to get married and blah 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 blah. But when you regulate your whole life, and you are like that tree over there, or like one of these big trees, and you're solidly in this regulated earthing that's regulated, that's not up and down, then you will not be so stressed, and you will be aware of stuff. You will become aware of stuff that other people are not really paying attention to because they're too stressed out about all the things, because they haven't regulated their body. So then how do you've regulated your whole body, and then you will become aware of certain things that other people are not aware of, and how do you deal with that? How do you deal with being aware of stuff, and how do you should you try to tell people certain things, or should you just plead ignorance, or should you perhaps, in order for you to feel comfortable socializing with those other people while you're aware of all this stuff and they're not, should you then just sort of pretend that, or sort of bring your intellect kind of down to their level so that you can feel comfortable socializing with them while you're aware of all this stuff? And that's basically the approach that I see, people, and specifically I was talking about, advanced meditators and people that are quite advanced at Tai Chi and Qigong and have a very good awareness of their body, and they have regulated their whole lifestyle, quite well. And so they become aware of these things. And the general trend that I see is that when people reach that level, and then when they become aware of certain things, and then when they go and hang out with, so instead of looking for other people that are also aware, or trying to, help use their awareness to help, I just see this general trend of these people thinking that, but now I have to kind of, they want to get stuck into samsara, you know what I mean? They want to just bring themselves down a bit to be able to be around people, but that's not what I want to do, that's not my modus operandi, because I'm aware now that there are extraterrestrials potentially among us, and I would very much like to meet those extraterrestrials and those interdimensional, well, again, that's kind of a woo-woo term, we have to kind of go into the specifics of it to be very clear and understand what it is and what is relevant to specifically, what I want to do. So that's that.